Hello and welcome back to Sheltered Sages, the podcast where two formerly sheltered homeschoolers talk about the complexities of life, one Reddit story at a time. My name is Philip.
And I'm Andrew, and we are back to our standard episode. Well, I say standard.
Yeah.
Like, this is what the people have become. I can talk. I can English.
You're good. Yeah.
Have grown. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but are used to. And
You're back to the normally
Yeah.
scheduled episodes.
Yes. They're getting their Reddit stories this week.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I hope you liked last week as well, where we got to talk to our friend about all the wonderful things that she's doing in life and get like a different perspective. I think we should do more of that on the podcast, just like bring more people in there. So,
well, definitely, I think we're entering our exploring phase of Sheltered Sages, where we're going to be like doing like pushing our boundaries, trying new things, going outside of the "Am I the picklefoot" subreddit into other subreddits and bringing people onto the show. It's like we're moving into that stage, which is wild because like it feels like we've been doing this for so long, but it's only been a year. That's crazy. The wildest part is like I was thinking back to it and I was like, our first episode aired in like our second or third episode was our Valentine's Day episode. It was so like it was not that long ago that we started last year. So yeah, we've only been doing this for a year, but it feels like a lot longer. And I feel like we've grown as like creators and as hosts and as things like that in the time. We're like so much more comfortable than we were.
It's fun. It's wonderful. But we're not talking about the podcast today, Andrew. This is not an episode about that. We're talking about something else because while we were homeschoolers, I was about to say are homeschoolers. While we were homeschoolers, we didn't always stay at home. Every once in a while, we did this wonderful thing called a field trip.
Now, I don't know if the public schoolers will know what that is, though. Okay. I mean, I've heard their lives are miserable. They're in a cubic, rectangle for their entire life. I don't think they get to leave.
You don't think they get to leave at all?
I don't think they get to. No, I think they're forced to stay there the entire time.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting a text.
Okay.
Oh no, my wife says I'm a liar. So just kidding. Field trips.
Field trips when you go somewhere else and you get to see really interesting things that are supposed to educate you on other things in life. I don't know if they ever actually did. I mean, but they were fun.
I got some cool stories to share. So yes, they did, but also some of them did not. Some of them were just an excuse to go to the movies.
That's fair. And movies are great, and we love movies. But I think we should get into the stories. And before we do that, we should start the episode now. I am going to give you the first story over here.
You're about to slip into that British accent.
I was about to slip into the British accent.
This story.
The first story, please. This first story, its title is "Am I the picklefoot for lying to my mom about a field trip?"
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh boy. All right, let's get started.
Trigger warning before we continue in the story. There is a warning of alleged physical or verbal abuse in the episode.
Okay.
So if you want to skip it, you can. We'll let you know where it is in the description. You can go over to the next story here, but just want to let you know.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. Getting back into Reddit stories heavy. Let's do it.
It's going. So background info. My 16 female physics class was scheduled to go on a field trip to an amusement park after AP tests in May. The trip has been canceled now. The teacher sent out parent emails asking for chaperone volunteers in February. My mom, 49 female, has always been enthusiastic about chaperoning for my events. She's been on all my school trips since kindergarten. I know she cares about me, but she's controlling. I've had to fight with her to be allowed to do basic chores like making my own bed because I can't do anything right. Oh. And she's, here's the part, physically and verbally abusive at times. Sometimes I get uncomfortable being around her when she goes into tiger mom mode and starts picking apart everything I've done since I was born. The field trip was going to happen on my birthday, a coincidence, and I didn't want her there. I wanted to have fun and be happy with my friends without my mom breathing down my neck about stuff. Why did I not say hi to someone I barely know? Why did I look at this person like that, etc.? Mom polices my friends too. She's a devout Christian and brings up the topic of faith in every conversation, or passive aggressively hints at people to convert. She'll blast worship music in the car if she's carpooling with someone of a different religion. She suggested my atheist friends hold a Bible study during birthday parties. The worst part is that many of my friends are closeted and various things, and hating those kinds of people is one of my mom's favorite conversation starters.
Oh, gosh.
I think my friends shouldn't have to listen to that. And to be honest, I don't know if she could physically handle it. She's always been frail. And even when I was in elementary school, I can remember her having to sit down and take breaks fairly often on trips. So here's the picklefoot part. I lied about chaperone positions for the May trip. I told her that spots had all been taken by the time I'd notified my teacher. She believed me. I would have completely forgotten about this if my classmate hadn't mentioned our now canceled trip yesterday. From what I've said, it seems like I'm not the picklefoot, and at the time I thought I was. Now I don't know. I'm just a teen. I live in my parents' house, and I should obey them. Objectively speaking, I shouldn't have stopped my mom for volunteering because I'm her kid and she should be able to do what she wants with me. Going behind her back and lying was disrespecting her. She was trying to do what a good parent should do, guide and protect their child. I was being ungrateful and rebellious. I've used the phrase "I want" a lot in this post, but never considered my mom's feelings. Maybe I should have just dealt with her coming on the trip because she's my mom.
So did the mom like stand behind her like, okay, now say this, now say this, now say this? Oh gosh, that's a heavy one. You're starting off with a banger.
There we go.
Oh gosh. Okay, there is so much to unpack with this.
Yes.
There is so much. Gosh, getting me into a lot of things. Okay.
Do you want me to start on this one?
I mean, I want to just start with my initial
Okay.
instincts, which is it's really, really hard when because OP is asking about this and it's like, am I wrong? And I'm a very, very big proponent of being honest and being open and things like that. I think honesty is so important, even to a fault. I think it does. It's a character thing. It's just like if you build a character of honesty, it's going to pay off in the long run. That comes personally from a morals and religious side of my own belief, but other people think differently. But I think honesty in and of itself is important.
Absolutely.
So the fact that this is fundamentally based on a lie is very challenging to me. It's very hard, and again, I don't want to say that they're a picklefoot because I don't think that hits the criteria for what this is. But they shouldn't. I don't think they should have done that.
I agree.
Now, when you add the context of everything else with this story,
Yes.
oh, this is a minefield of therapy is what this is.
Yes.
That's the big thing that I'm like, this is like, I can't really give good advice for this other than just be like, it sounds like you fundamentally disagree with a lot of the things that your mom does. And your mom is trying to force you to see her side of things.
Yes.
The hard part is she is what was it, 16?
She's 16.
She's a 16-year-old female, and you are still in your mom's house. The hard part is at the same time, and this is one of the reasons why I think working with, like, I'm moving in the direction of like working with high schoolers of when I go in. I think when you start getting into high school, that's when, like, as a child, you have to start developing the ability to come to terms with what you believe, come to terms with what you want to do. And yes, parents need to be there and to guide. And obviously this is speaking as someone who is not a parent, especially not a parent of a teenager, because that is way
that's in the future.
Outside. I'm closer to being I'm closer to I was as a teenager to being a parent of teenagers.
That's fair.
But all that being said, it is very hard that OP, and if I doubt OP is listening to this, but if OP was in that situation, it is very hard to feel like you don't have agency in your own home. Especially to be able to do it. So that's something very important to take into consideration when thinking about all of this.
Absolutely. And I wanted to just right off the bat, that first statement when they were talking about technical complications with the abusiveness, if it's a toxic scenario, right, where
Yeah.
you are not being treated properly, there are places you go. We're going to
Yes.
put it in the description as well, lines that you can call if you're in that situation. So it's nothing to play around with.
Yeah.
Beyond that, there are a lot of situations, if we're just talking about just verbally that are there. I feel it's complicated when it's like the situation of, this is my child that I am in charge of, and almost in a way I am in control of, versus this is my child that I am here to raise and grow and make them better.
Yeah.
And even in talking with my parents before, it was a kind of pivot for them. Even talking to my mom, she was like, I had to go from the idea of my children are my people, where if I need them to do something, or I need them to be around somewhere, or if I want them to, I get to tell them to do that, and they have to.
Yeah.
And then when you pivot over to, these are their own people, they're their own humans, they're doing their own things, they have their own mindsets, they have their own opinions that are different than mine.
Yeah.
That's complicated. And so while I absolutely agree with you at the teenage style, where you're like starting to realize, oh, I don't actually agree with everything my parents say, on the same way, it's like, oh, my kids don't actually agree with everything I say. And it's not as, if they're 4 or 5 or 6-year-old, you're like, I don't really care what you think, kid. Like,
Which like is a conversation of topic of like how you handle that. But at the same time, it's like at that stage, when you're entering the teenage stage and becoming that, it's like, that's when you were like, I want to hang out with my friends. I can start. She's old enough to drive in the US, and like that's when you can get your license and go by yourself. It's like, it's that tasting of independence. And there are multiple stories I could recall, and I could think about a couple that would make my parents roll their eyes that I bring it up, but like of moments where I was like, I was almost an adult and I was disciplined like I was a 10-year-old, and I was just like, what is happening here? That weird disconnect. So all that to be said, I think the hard part is that this kid is this OP has been raised in a very intense, controlling environment. And that's the vibe that I'm getting. It's such a hard story. That's the thing is, it's like there's so much to dig into it.
Speaking of, the other part that I really wanted to dig into, which I thought was really interesting, and one of the reasons I brought this here, is the second part, where she starts talking about her mom being I'm going to do quotes on there, devout Christian, and kind of pushing forth this agenda. So personally, I'm going to step on a little soapbox for a little bit, because I feel very strongly about this part here.
Let's hear it.
There has been this whole situation with a bunch of people who are, we'll say, Christians, going in and forcing their, and I'm going to say it, agenda on a bunch of other people. It's gotten to the point where whenever people see Christianity, in a lot of ways, they think, okay, it's going to be a person who's going to come over to me and basically tell me that I am wrong for various reasons out there. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. This is the absolute wrong way of doing it. This entire mindset is wrong. And it's like, okay, just in a logical sense. If I wanted to go over to someone who's painting something incorrectly, and I stand up behind them while they're working their hardest on their painting and say, hey, you're doing that absolutely wrong. Everything about this painting is just incorrect. Don't do this anymore. You think they're going to turn around to me and be like, thank you so much. You're so right. I'm so appreciative for you taking the time out of your day to tell me that I am wrong. No. That's the absolute wrong way. Beyond that, in the literal Bible, that's what they tell us not to do. It's showing love. It's showing compassion. It's being more open about what those things that are there. One of the things I brought up here, which not going too deep into it, just because I am a Christian, you are a Christian as well. It's like, it's Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 1, where it says, judge not, that you not be judged. And then the second part is, Christ came with love and open arms, not judgment. One of the movies that we talked about before, which I absolutely love, is the new Knives Out film, which
oh my gosh,
I think it's rated R.
No, I think it's only 13.
It
might be wrong.
In the very beginning, I'm going to spoil that first part. Basically, he says this thing about not wanting to fight everyone, but more wanting to embrace them with open arms. Because that's what Christ did. And so one of my big passions has been always to change that scenario, change the way that people see that. Instead of them seeing a Christian that's going over and saying, you're absolutely wrong about every single thing you've ever done, going and saying, I love you regardless. I want to help you regardless. We want to show you the love of Christ despite anything. And so seeing this mom do that kind of thing, I'm like, this is one of the reasons people don't like this. This is one of the reasons people get very frustrated. And I just want people to know that's not everyone. I know it doesn't help very much, but it's like there are different people out here who don't advocate for that.
And I think that's one of the things too. And it's like, well, like you've opened that door, so let's walk through it. I think that is one of the unfortunate like challenges that we deal with in this day and age when it comes to there is there is Christianity, the actual Christianity, and then there is the religion or the
tradition,
the tradition,
system.
the system, those kind of things. And that's the part that's really, really hard. Because, and this is the hard part is like, again, we're talking as Christians. We are talking as, again, not that this is a Christian podcast, but we are both hosts who are Christians, as many of those bands who have members who are Christians, but are not a Christian band.
Skillet?
Like the Skillet. They like, well, actually Skillet's pretty open about that. But anyway,
sorry.
No, you're good. So, but it's that reality of like, you don't like, even if your intention is to win over this person, you don't do that by starting where someone is wrong. And just the general rules of a good debate is meet the person where they're at, understand where they're coming from, and then talk to them and ask questions in order to gain them over to your side. That's just the general rules of a good debate. And like, which is emulated in the Bible, which is talked about by good spiritual leaders. But it's this mentality of like, oh, your atheist friends or your non-Christian friends should have a Bible study at their respectfully, as a Christian who had a lot of birthday parties with other Christians, we didn't have Bible studies at our birthday parties. People don't do that. Respectfully.
You didn't have a Bible study at your birthday party?
I didn't. No, I mean, we might have, I think we prayed before like food. And
I'm pretty sure
like,
all homeschoolers have Bible studies at their birthday parties.
Well, you remember I'm not a pure homeschooler because I did go to school for a few years.
That's fair.
So I am a little corrupted by the world, unfortunately.
That's okay. We forgive you for it. Again, we forgive you, not this. We forgive you.
But all that to be said, it's a hard conversation because there are so many people who were taught this, who were taught like, oh, well, if I, you see the movies like the God's Not Dead movies and stuff, which like I think have a lot of good things to them, but it's like, oh, well, you're going to go to college and you're going to meet a professor that's going to tell you that you have to denounce Christianity because evolution is the only, like, that's not actually how colleges work.
Yeah, I mean, you might. You honestly might. But then it's also like,
you might.
They have their opinions, you have yours.
You're just going to recognize too that like but the world operates by the sharing of ideas. And as much as I want everyone to experience the peace that I've experienced being a Christian and understand it, I also recognize that that is not going to be everyone. I will still talk about it with everyone. I will still share with everyone. And if anyone ever asks me, it's like, well, how do you feel? Like, why do you feel that way when all of this other crazy stuff has happened? I know who I can point to. But I'm not going to go up to someone, especially my kids' friends, and be like, by the way, the lifestyle that you're considering pursuing is wrong. And I'm going to talk about like, it's hard. And it sounds like the hardest part, the thing that really hurts me, and like I want to pull back to the original story. What hurts me most is that I don't sense a good relationship between the mom and the daughter. And that's the part that's going to hurt so much, is when that daughter turns 18. And this is the thing, this is where it does come back on the mom. And this is where like we as individuals have to be like, if you're wanting to continue to develop a positive relationship with your kids, you have to be able to talk to them. You have to be able to listen to where they're coming from and not come from a place of, you're going to do what I say because I'm your parent, and move into that transition of, we are going to talk about this, and I want to learn why you're feeling this way. Like, who are your friends? Why do you feel these ways? Those kind of things, and have that dialogue. It can't just be from a place of control, because as soon as she's out from under that control, you have none.
Yes.
And it might take longer than normal because you have such a hold on her. But as soon as she's out from under that control, she's going to have to figure out who she is for herself.
Yep. I completely agree. And I want to say along with it, the initial question is she the picklefoot for lying to her mom about the trip? I'm gonna throw a curveball in there.
Go ahead.
Despite what mom is doing, I think she is the picklefoot for doing that. If we're talking about the picklefoot means that you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, if we just hone in on the action itself,
yes,
lying to your mom about that was wrong.
It was wrong. That said, I do think there's something else to say about having a conversation with mom. And even in the comments, which I'm not going to get into right now, the comment says she's not the picklefoot in there.
I had a feeling. I was like, they're going to be like, well, no, your mom's respectfully
but
being
it's like,
awful.
Regardless of anything, if you want to move on from this, what we keep talking about so often, it's communication.
Yeah.
It's going in, having a conversation with your mom, finding either someone to mediate between where you can have that, or something else that you can kind of go over and sit down and calmly talk through this. Yeah. Because I'm going to play the other side, the advocate of that in a little bit, because mom seems pretty bad and she needs help. It's more, a lot of times they still love you. It seems like your mom still somewhere cares about you. Yeah. And so if she actually does care, she should be open to having a conversation.
Yeah.
If she's not open to having a conversation at all, that's a different story, but at least you know you tried.
Yeah.
And then later on, if you're like, I don't want you to be involved in a bunch of these things, and I'm going to let you know right now that if I can, I will let you know if there's something important, but otherwise, if I don't tell you, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
the
like,
sad reality is she's still a child, and there will be consequences to that, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those really, really hard moments. And this is not an easy story in any way, shape, or form. And the sad reality is it's not really about the field trip. That's about the relationship with the mom and daughter.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a good story. Yeah, hard opening, dude.
Sorry.
No, but it's good, and it's something that needs to be talked about. And it's unfortunate that so many, like any parents that I interact with, of like, especially with older kids, it's very much like there has to be that transition from control to guide.
Yes.
And that transition is I think, and again, not as a parent, but just like, I think in general, that transition from control to guide is hard.
It's so difficult.
And like, even
I know I didn't
think
do
about
great
like
for it.
as again, I can only think about being a teacher, but my longest extent of interacting and training someone has probably been as a Taekwondo instructor, right? I have students who have been underneath me and training with me for years. And it's getting to a point where some of them are starting to teach themselves, which is awesome and incredibly fulfilling. But at the same time, there's this hard part of me that wants to grab the reins of what they're doing and just like steer and be like, no, you need to do this. I'm like, no, this is my moment where I need to let them, as long as it's not like dangerous or disruptive or like teaching something incorrectly that might need some correction. And then there's still ways to do that correctly. And then afterwards, have a conversation with them, mentor them, let them be like, I really like what you did here. Next time when you're having these issues, why don't you try doing this instead? Because people need to be able to learn. And I know this is really hard for parents sometimes. Kids need to be able to make mistakes.
Yep.
Kids need to be able to have those opportunities to make mistakes. And yes, we want to try and not let them have, like, you don't want them to drive off of a cliff, but sometimes they need to touch a burner to see that it's hot and be like, I don't want that.
Or discover that they've made their own complication that now they have to fix themselves, or you can help them fix it, but you got to know.
So I want to, again, to talk to the parents. Obviously, if the mom's abusive and there's all this other stuff going on, like get that taken care of. But like to parents who are hearing us talk about this, I don't want to bash parents.
No,
it's just give that encourage, because it is hard. And again, this is coming from someone who only sees it on the outside and only has a little bit of understanding coming into it.
Yeah. But being a child before, it's like,
being a child before.
From a child's perspective. There you go.
Well, I think that transition is even harder, like from the homeschooling perspective. I think that transition is even harder because your parents are everything.
Yes.
Like your parents are, your teacher, your principal, they're your bus driver, they're your cook, they're everything. And then you start to transition out, and like you might be ready for it, but like the person who has been giving you their everything is now saying that they don't need you. And it's hard. And like, so it's just kids,
Yeah,
we have to give some grace to our parents,
we do.
even though it's really hard as a teenager to see that.
Yes.
But also parents, we can't, you
Give some
guys
grace to your
can't.
kids.
You got to give grace to your kids and let them explore, let them say one of like in a positive note. I want to share a positive one. When I was having my high school graduation, so there's a big graduation ceremony that we do at that we did at the Gaylord. It was like the FPEA homeschool convention graduation. I think it was like thousands of homeschoolers from all over the country came, walked the floor. It was amazing. Did you do that?
No, I did not.
Okay, that would
I
have
did
been
something
so
else,
cool
but
because if you had done that, we would have been at the same place at the same time.
Really?
Because we would have graduated at the same time.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
Unless you graduated early. No, because we would have graduated at the
No,
same
I went to middle college, so that's
right.
where it was.
Okay. So anyways, the weekend of that, my parents let me go, and it was like a 2-day weekend thing. And the first weekend was almost like a mingle where you got to meet all these other homeschoolers, and it was just you and 1,000 other high school senior homeschoolers in a room.
Nice.
And then there was like little games to get to know each other. And then you started forming groups. And then we did a scavenger hunt. And then and it was this group of like 4 people that I met and I kind of hung out with for the rest of the weekend.
So cool.
And like, but my parents let me do that.
Yeah.
They let me go and like I walked around. They gave me some money so I could go to the ice cream shop there and like it was like I was up at like 2 o'clock in the morning with these bunch of strangers looking up at the stars, talking about like our plans for the future in life.
That's cool.
And like I could only do that because my parents let me have the freedom to explore that. They didn't try and keep me on a leash, try and know where I'm at all times, things like that. They gave me trust. They trusted me to be able to do that safely.
Yeah,
it's like make good choices.
You instill all those facts and those ideas and all the stuff that you've trained them up to do. At a certain point, you got to let them do it.
There's a book. I need to read it because my is it aunt-in-law? Regardless, one of my wife's family members. It's a book called "Let Them," and I need to read it. But it's about like it's different things. But anyways, I'll figure out more about that. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Different thing. But let them is important. You need to let people do things.
Yes,
and be there sometimes when you need to follow up.
That's fair. Well, that's my story. I want to open it up.
Okay. Well, now I'm switching to my second story that I had prepared because the first one was a very similar adjacent story, but from the mom's perspective. Interestingly enough, but so I'm not doing that.
Okay.
We're going to read a story from a teacher.
Hey, let's go.
And this is from a different subreddit because we're exploring this semester.
Ooh,
so we're going to branch out. There's no fun name for this one because this is from r/teachers.
Okay.
So the title of this story, I hate field trips. And that is the title.
So let's go.
And they say they are just terrible. I hate every minute of it. Before the trips, permission slips are sent home and students are given ample time to return the slips and payment. I let parents know that I need them both together in an envelope or a baggie labeled with their child's name. I still have kids turning them in late, even with email reminders. Please be a parent and turn things in on time. It is not the teacher's job to hunt you down for things. Day of the trip, detailed instructions are given prior regarding what to wear and needing a lunch and with all disposable items. Parents are told to only pack what their child will eat, as we cannot bring food back with us. I had kids show up with so much food like they were hiking the Appalachian Trail. Behavior in the morning is just nuts. It's as if we all have amnesia of rules and routines. Can someone please help? So much of the support staff stay at the school, but it would be nice if they could actually help and load up the buses with lunch bags and crates. Make yourself useful. I am managing 100 different things as we are trying to get ready to go. When we're actually on the bus, oh my gosh, I just want to jab my eyes out. We had a serious discussion about bus safety, the correct way to sit, etc. Amnesia is apparently back, as many of them are in the aisles, turning around, screaming, etc. We don't get out much, apparently. Every single field trip in the past 2 years, the bus has gotten lost, taken us to a different place, or something else. I'm sorry, It is not my job to navigate the bus. Please do your job.
I think there are bigger issues here, honestly. What school is this?
I don't know, but at the venue, the amount of complaining about walking, being hungry, etc. almost sends me over the edge. Let's just enjoy not being at school, please. The whole time, I'm praying we behave as to not upset other visitors. Worst of all, no lunch break or break of any kind. It's just 4 hours straight of being with the kids.
Yep.
When we come back to the school, it would be appreciated if someone actually ensured each teacher had a break if their planning period was missed. I feel no guilt whatsoever to put us on iPads so I can have a bit of a break, so I can have one quiet minute. Gosh, do I hate field trips, y'all.
So this reminds me, you've heard of it before where like one teacher's like, no more field trips. This is terrible. Get rid of all. Yeah, I can see it. I can absolutely see it. Okay, so starting this one out.
Yep.
Completely agree with them.
Yeah.
And I understand why a teacher would hate field trips.
Yeah.
So before in homeschooling, when I was homeschooled at that time, we did take a couple of field trips. Yes. One of my favorite field trips, which is we went with another homeschool family apple picking.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was really nice. We enjoyed it. The difference was because we were with our parents and we have been around our parents, when you get in trouble, you don't just get in trouble at school.
You get trouble at home.
You get in trouble at home too. It's immediate across there. Instinct. And they know exactly what it is. So it's a little, you're on your best behavior because of that.
And you're in public with your family.
Oh, parents get so upset if you act out in public. So everyone was like, your kids are so well behaved. They're so well. It's like, well, my mom is standing right behind. You think I'm going to act out right here? That said, I probably did act out in public a couple of times.
We still did, absolutely.
Kids.
Oh,
anyways,
gosh.
But for a public school, and I haven't really been in public school in that way, but I'm going to assume in that way, you have them sitting at desk. They're in classrooms. They have very structured systems around them. Every single day doing the exact same things over and over and over again. Now imagine you rip that structure away from a bunch of children. And you say, instead of sitting in a classroom, you're going to sit on a bus. Yeah. Instead of going over and learning about the normal things, we're going to give you 4 hours in a new location with all of your friends and the rest of the school. That changes.
You are not with the rest of the school.
Oh, you're not with the rest of the school? Okay.
Oh, no. You think they can afford to send the entire school on a field trip?
I just assumed, from the movies and TV shows, the entire school goes somewhere.
No.
It's only a class?
It's not a class, usually a grade. They'll send the 5th graders to the orchestra, or they'll send the 6th graders to a museum or something like that. They would not send the entire school. Well, they might. I don't know. But I don't think
how big the school is?
Depends on how big the school is, because you need buses to be able to transport all of the kids.
Well, I've seen so many buses.
Those buses are taking kids from homes to the thing, and then other kids still come in cars or walk.
That makes sense. That does make a lot more sense. Anyways,
I know we're homeschooled. I never rode the bus other than for field trips. So.
I rode the bus. It was interesting. I didn't like it.
I don't hear anyone who likes the bus ride.
Tangent with buses, since we're already on that.
Okay.
Going to middle college, I appreciate my parents because they were like, some parents are going, no, you don't need to experience these things. We've saved you from this entire life of complications with public school. My parents were like, no,
you're going to the bus.
You should experience all of it. So you can't blame us later on in life saying you didn't let me do. No, I'm going to let you do it. And so so they're like, the first whatever time that I went to school, they're like, you're going to ride the bus. You're going to do the stuff that other public school kids do.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
I know. Buses I didn't like.
They're awful.
It's a bunch of kids just all crammed into one little area. And I always worry too, because there's only one adult on the bus. One adult, bunch of kids.
Once the kids figure out, this is the scariest thing. Philip, this is the scariest thing.
Yeah.
We have no power. And some of the kids, when the kids learn this, when they learn, I'm like, wait, it's 30 of us versus one adult.
Yes.
What am I going to do?
So me, young homeschooled child, sitting on this bus is going, oh my goodness, we're outnumbered. Me attributing myself to the bus driver. We're outnumbered.
You attributing yourself as the adult in that scenario.
Oh no, this is not good. This is not good at all. So I'm guessing
you sat really close to the front near the bus driver.
Okay, for the first time, yes, I did. I sat up front. But then later on, I realized you sit up front and you're not the cool kid.
Nope.
You guys sit in the back.
I love that you were doing that. Try to be the cool kid. Were you the cool kid on the bus?
I think towards the end of it, I might have become the cool kid in the bus. But I realized, okay, still we're doing a tangent for this. I'm so sorry.
No, this is great. This is fun. Let's do it.
The cool kid, to be the cool kid, you have to stop caring about being the cool kid.
Yeah.
And it's such an oxymoron. Yeah, it is. If you're like, I need to be the cool kid, you're not the cool kid.
You're not the cool kid. You're trying too hard. Not. You're try hard at that point in time.
Exactly. But if you're like, you know what? I'm cool. And you just have confidence.
You have to own it.
And you own it. Mm-hmm. People just respect that.
Honestly, though, like that's so true with like everything in life, though. Like leadership. I don't like. Oh, I'm trying. Like, okay, I gotta be a little like. No, if you just all right, cool. I'm a leader now. I'm gonna do my things and then deal with it later.
Yeah,
that's leadership. Same thing with confidence. Okay, I gotta go into this. I gotta be confident. No, if you have to tell yourself you gotta be confident, you're struggling with confidence.
Yeah,
you just gotta. Again, obviously I say that it's very hard to just be confident, but like, you know, it is that thing of like, you're not actually the thing until you do it without doing it consciously, which takes a lot of training of like, you know, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to learn what it means to be a leader. And so I can start doing these things naturally. So yes, obviously tangent from the cool kid thing. If you try and be the cool kid, you're not.
But in the same way,
yes,
with teachers, if you have the confidence and you just act as if you are in control of the situation.
That's what you have to do.
Generally, what I've seen, the kids listen.
As someone who works in middle schools and high schools and elementary schools, that is exactly what you have to do. You walk in and you own the room, and if you lose the room for half a second, you're done.
Mental battle.
Like the only thing that can restore you is calling admin, and even then you are like, and then admin. You don't lose respect, but like good admin are there to support the teachers, and a good admin will be like, hey, who is acting up? Because I'll pull them out of class in a second. Yeah, have a conversation with them. But there have been times where I called admin and they looked at me and they're like, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I'm like, you're the person to do the thing. Yeah. Like I'm out of authority. I'm a sub. I have no authority here. Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
But anyways, so I'm going to transition back to field trips.
Sorry.
Because no, you're good. Don't apologize. This is a fun tangent. But so I wanted to talk about some of the field trips that I won. So we talked about me being tainted. I went to school for 4th and 5th grade. So
you're not tainted. A little tainted. It's just you have a little bit of expressiveness in your background.
Okay. Anyways, since I'm ruined.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Carry on.
So I went to, I think, like, and that's the hard part where, like, I was hearing about the daughter with her mom, right, in our previous story. Because one of my favorite memories with my mom is in 5th grade, we got to do an overnight field trip where we went to St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, cool.
And it was so cool. Like, we went, and because it was my mom as a sub, I didn't have to share a room with anyone. It was just me and my mom in a room. It was great. We got to go to, like, the Ripley's Believe It or Not. And we did a trolley, and we got to tour the old town. And then, like, because we were Christians, we didn't do the ghost tour. So I got to hang out with my mom and go get ice cream while everyone else walked around creepy cemeteries. Yeah. It was awesome. So like it was, that was fun. But one of the other ones I wanted to talk about, and like a pitch for Central Florida, if you want to come to Central Florida. Obviously, when you know Central Florida, you think of like theme parks, you think of Disney, you think of Universal. What you don't think about is this one strip that is right outside of Disney, and it's called International Drive. And on International Drive, there are a lot of really cool experiences that you can go do. There's like escape rooms, and there are museums, and there's other things like that. There's this one place, if you drive down I-Drive, and it looks like someone took an apartment building, turned it upside down, and slammed it on its head.
Yes, it does.
It's called Wonderworks. And that was my favorite field trip that I went on as a homeschool group. So have you been to Wonderworks?
I have not.
You need to go as an adult because you'll still appreciate it a lot. But basically what it is a hands-on interactive science museum that is like full of optical illusions and hands-on stuff. It's so much fun. I literally was like, when we were talking about field trips, I'm talking about Wonderworks.
Bringing it up.
As I said, like it's one of the, if you have kids, they're going to love it. If you don't have kids, you're going to love it. There's like comedy shows that they do there too. There was I don't know if they still have it because I haven't been in years, but there was like a, what's it called? Laser tag. Yeah, there's a laser tag arena on the top floor. It's cool. Like an arcade, and it was so much fun. So like that was a cool part of being homeschooled, is like we were part of a group that would just go on random things, and like we tour Publix's or we go to but like it was a cool opportunity to get to step outside of the norm and the regular and actually get to kind of do crazy things and explore the area around. That's like cool. That. So
I will raise you another story from my childhood as well. Field trips. We did come down to Florida. I don't know where this was in Florida. I say was because I'm pretty sure it's gone now. But my parents decided to send us on a field trip to Wanadu City.
I don't know where that is.
So Wanadu City was a place where it's basically a small city in a giant warehouse. I'd say warehouse, but it's like, you know, like a Walmart type size area.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And so then there's buildings, there's streets and stuff like that. Basically, when you get there, they give you a certain amount of currency and like a credit card. And you get to go into the city and you can buy stuff. You can do, it's only for kids. And then you can go over and get, if you need more money, you get a job. So you go over to a dentist's office, or you go over and be a firefighter, or you go and do like a TV thing for the news, whatever. And so all these kids are like running around doing stuff, and the parents, you can either go with your kid to the various places, or you can just sit on the side and like watch your kid go. I think there was cameras and stuff where you could do.
That's cool.
It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Like even with the firefighter, they would have like this whole simulated fire at a certain building.
Are you serious?
Yes, and you get to ride on a literal fire engine. I don't think you could drive it, but like they would like have you go on the fire engine over to the location.
Dude, that's so cool.
And dude, it was so cool.
Who needs Roblox when you got that? Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I loved it, and like since there's like I need to go back there because it's I can't now because I'm not a child anymore. But it was
that
like
put
a
you on
really...
the list, Philip.
Exactly, but it was just a really cool place, and even my parents were like, "This is the coolest thing. I kind of wish I could do that." And I was
know,
like,
that's awesome. Like I would want to be like, oh, I need to help my kid.
Yeah.
And then also like, okay, so dad's going to borrow a few dollars. Hold on.
I don't know if you could buy actual food, but you could go over to like be like a barista, like a place too. Yeah. Really any job you could think of.
It's just
they
a
had
really
the
great
little place.
opportunity to like explore too. I love that. That's so much fun.
It was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah. That's a cool experience. Not as cool as standing in the middle of a tornado, but it's a pretty cool. Yeah. That you get to do that.
And Wonderworks.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
that
cool.
Or like sit in a cafe that's in the middle of an earthquake. That's really cool.
Terrifying.
It was quite terrifying, actually.
I don't know if I like that very much.
No, it's a lot of really, really cool stuff there too.
Cool.
But yeah, so like that being said, at the end of the day, like I know we talked about some fun topics today, but like field trip, I think that's the truth of field trips though, is it's like, it's all about going a little bit outside of your expectations and your comfort zones and exploring the world around you and learning about different things. And I did get to explore a lot as a kid. So like we went to a lot of museums, and like, obviously there's a stereotype of like, hey, we're going to go to the theme park today and study physics. Like that's a joke, but also legit, because you would just go to an aquarium today and it's like, we're going to learn about sea life and stuff like that. And it's a cool part of being homeschooled. That was like, that's a fun memory to pull back on of like, that was cool.
And even with the second story that we read here, it's like when one teacher has to deal with not just, they didn't talk about anything really about the actual field trip. It's just the logistics of getting all of those students from one place to another.
Yeah. Well, think about being the kid in that scenario of like, you're just getting the teacher yelling at you the entire time because of, you know, oh, so-and-so is acting on a line. Now we have to wait because so-and-so.
Might not even be you.
I didn't even dig into the stories about people losing kids on field trips because that's a whole...
Please don't lose a kid. But like as homeschool, you in a homeschool, you don't have to worry about, depending on how many kids you have, which that's up to you.
But again, most of the time the parents are there with them too.
Exactly. So you can focus on what you want your kids to learn in that way, your students to learn in that way, and how they can grow and see new things. So it's like a really cool part about homeschooling. I think a lot of people don't think about, or they go, you're just going to go to the theme park and have fun.
Yeah. And like, obviously it's hard because not everyone's in a position where they can do that, which is like, we recognize that, but it's also really cool. Like in a counter to the situation with the first story that we read, the mom, like I have so many wonderful memories with like my parents, specifically my mom, because my mom was usually the one that took us on the field trips or things like that, and with our homeschool group. But like those are some really, really cool moments that are like the Disney Inside Out, but the like core memories of like things that I can pull back on. I'm like, those were so much fun. And like there will be things that like that's a cool memory that like not every parent gets to have, and stuff like that. So
I'd say in all, if you are a parent that's out there, one thing that's really important is to let your kids explore, let them find out things on their own. Maybe, if you're a chaperone on every single one of those trips, maybe let them go off on a trip on their own, even if they might not be asking for it. If they ask you to go on the trip with them, please go on the trip with them. But
absolutely.
even then, like sometimes let them go. On the other side, though, field trips can be complicated. It's very difficult. So maybe as a chaperone, you might not even want to go on the next one that's there. But for students that are out there enjoying field trips, learn something from it, because it's something that you don't really necessarily get to do as an adult afterwards in life. So enjoy those wonderful times. Enjoy.
We call those workplace functions. And maybe you get to go to Topgolf.
You're not learning anything at Topgolf except that you don't know how to play golf.
How bad you are at golf.
Well, speaking of how bad we are at golf, but how good we are hopefully at social media, do we have socials, Andrew?
We do have socials. So we are active we're getting back into the swing of things with social media and stuff. You've probably seen a lot of clips because I have been trying really, really hard to be posting more of those about our episodes and things like that. But you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok if you want to see some of those reels, just fun of the little clips, or maybe even some side content that we make that'll just be fun. If you want to send us your own story, you can email us at shelteredsages@gmail.com with the tag listener right in. And just make sure that you like, subscribe, and if you're listening to this, make sure you follow, give us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate it. It helps new people find us and get to laugh along with us with some of the chaos, and hopefully, learn something new, grow a little bit, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's fantastic. I think we'll leave this with, if you could take a field trip anywhere in the entire world, where would you go?
Or on a darker note, what was your worst field trip growing up? One of the two.
You could do that. Yeah, one of the two, either or both. If you want to do both,
there you go.
Go ahead. More interaction. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.